my channel. My name is Misty, and today I'm sharing with you the 5 books that I read last month, the month of, what month was it? March. Now, this is a homeschool channel, but I do believe that you as the parent should continue your own education, and part of that is reading, and so that is why I'm sharing with you the books that I read last month. And if you're interested in more homeschool videos, make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below. Especially this coming week, I'm going to be talking about our curriculum for the next school year for homeschooling. So make sure you do that and hit the thumbs up button if you enjoy these books that I've read type videos, so I'll know to share them more in the future. All right, let's go ahead and talk about these 5 books. Now, I do like to always start by saying I don't really do physical books unless it's just I found it on a way cheaper deal than ebooks. I tend to read ebooks, and I usually try to do like one audiobook at a time. So that's how I read. So you'll see me just lifting my phone and talking about the books instead of showing them to you. Okay, so the very first book that I finished this month was actually one that was part of subscription. It's a women's subscription that I'm part of called The Womanhood Collective, and it's called Smothered. It's by Autumn Chiklis, I think is the last name. She is an actress. My husband said he has seen her on, I think she was one of the kids on, oh goodness, I can't even tell you, I'm sorry. One of the shows he watches, The Shield, I think, which is an older show, so obviously she's much more grown since that show. But I gave this one a 3 out of 5 stars. Let's talk about why. So this is a book of kind of like the young adult, not young adult maybe, she's finishing college. So she's, you know, just beyond college age. And she has to move back in with her parents, but specifically emphasizes moving back in with her mom. And her mom just are 2 different people. And it's this comedic book about the differences between them and the frustrations that the daughter has. And if you like to read for humor, you would probably like it. Like I told my husband if this was a movie, I'd be happy to watch the movie. I think it would be quite funny. I don't read for comedy though, guys. I don't. I've kind of discussed it before. I like more factual books, and so reading for humor just isn't for me. So it got a 3 out of 5. I think it was a good storyline and to an extent, but it wasn't all the way there for me. Also, the problems that she faces are so like first world problems that, I don't know, it was, when you look at like the actual problem of the book, it wasn't a deep book, and I don't like that. So it was just too lighthearted for me, and I don't read for humor, so 3 out of 5, not my thing. The next one was The Mission of Motherhood, Teaching Your Child's Heart for Eternity by Sally Clarkson. Let's get real about this, guys. If it's a Sally Clarkson book, it's probably a 5 out of 5 stars. This was the case. Sally Clarkson is definitely the top runner, like top contender for the motherhood and lifestyle area of books, I would say for myself. When I read her books, I swear I'm just a better parent than any day that I read a part of her book. There's something so holistic and refreshing, and just it fills your own cup. You know, we all need our own cup filled in order to take care of everybody else. And she definitely is something that fills my cup. She definitely touches my soul. So it was a really great book. Now this book has a lot to do with, like, obviously it's about the mission of motherhood, and it talks about a lot of subjects within that title. And so it talks about the purpose of motherhood. It talks about the challenge of wanting to be a working mom versus a stay-at-home mom, or maybe working from home while being a stay-at-home mom. It talks a lot about, you know, taking care of yourself while still being their parent. There's a lot that goes on in this book, and I think it is definitely a book every mother should read. It is a Christian read. She's a very Christian-based woman, but I still think even if you're not Christian, this book has a lot to offer, and you can take what you want and leave the rest. I highly recommend this book for everybody. And you can't go wrong with the Sally Clarkson book. You just can't. So this is my second book I've completed of hers. I have a third book where I'm reading it month by month because it breaks down into monthly sections. And I just bought her daily devotional. I'm a huge fan of Sally Clarkson, so go check out any book of hers, to be honest. All right, now last month, if you watched last month's video, then you know that I read There's No Such Thing as Bad Weather, which has a lot to do with Scandinavian living and beliefs about the outdoors and children. That got me inspired to read more. So now I read The Little Book of Lykke. It's spelled Lykke, really interesting. The Little Book of Lykke, I think I'm pronouncing that right. The Danish Search for the World's Happiest People by, I'm assuming, Mike Viking. As always, the book will be up here if I get that wrong. But I did like this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and by the title, as you can tell, this is a man who spends his life understanding and researching happiness. He built the what is it called? It's in the book, but is the Happy Institute? I can't remember right now, but basically the man is responsible for building what's called like the Happy Institute. And it's a place that just studies many countries, many people, many demographics, and their rates of happiness and what factors affect happiness. And he breaks this book down into each of those main factors. I want to say it was like 6 pillars of happiness, but I could be wrong. It could have been more. But he breaks the book down into these 6-ish pillars of happiness and kind of goes a little more in depth about it. Now, this book isn't super deep. It is a very light read. And I like that though. This book was very refreshing, and you can tell in the way that he writes that he probably is a very humorous guy and real person. He would make little jokes in the book. And I would highly recommend this book if you're interested specifically in more about just Scandinavian life and just Northern Europe's ideas on things like happiness. He has other books too, like the book of Huga, the little book of Huga, spelled like Higgy. He has a whole series, but yes, go check that book out. I did like it. Okay, this next book I love. It is The Whole Brain Child, and a lot of you probably heard of this. It does have a longer title. I'm not going to read it because it's super long. By Daniel J. Siegel and Tina Payne Bryson, and they are specialists in this field specifically. One is an MD, one has a PhD, and this is what they do. They study children in the brain and pediatrics and things like that. And it's a really great book that breaks down how many? 12. Yes, 12 revolutionary strategies. I guess I will read this. 12 revolutionary strategies to nurture your child's developing mind, survive everyday parenting struggles, and help your family thrive. This book, 5 out of 5 stars. It delivered for me. I love books about brain and early childhood development and all the things that go on inside and all the wiring and the neurons and just all the things. That's just a topic that I really love. So this book was right on target for me. I highly recommend it. I loved it so much. The strategies are very, they make sense. They make so much sense. And it's not like it's even anything that deep, but just things that without being taught about them, you wouldn't go, oh, that is a really good way to handle it. So it will give you really great strategies to help your child cope with a lot of feelings or maybe big emotions. It talks a lot about the downstairs brain versus the upstairs brain, because the two are separate and one will override the other, which causes children to panic and to go into those fits that they often do. Matter of fact, it's a book I will read probably at least once a year. This was done on audiobook. I think I have it in ebook. I may or may not, but it is a book I will revisit every single year because it's that good. I might even go get it physically just so I can like highlight my favorite parts and put little dog ears to always go back to when I need it. So yes, check out that book. All right, and the very last book is called The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennet. And I chose this book because it was on Goodreads' #1 book for historical fiction. Now, I've stated before, I'm not a fiction person. It takes a lot for me to try to read fiction, and I was thinking, well, maybe it's just because I'm picking the wrong fiction. Because my sister's type of fiction is more like the sci-fi type of things, and so I've tried to pick up her books and I've just not enjoyed them. So like, yeah, I can't do like Harry Potter or any of that. I can't. But I tried historical fiction. I picked the top rated book for last year and it delivered, guys. It was a really great story. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and it is a book taking place in South was Louisiana. I think it was in Louisiana, and it was in a made-up town, which is a really interesting thing as you read on about it. But anyways, it was about 2 twin sisters that lived in this really small town, and this was a town that was built specifically to cultivate a community of light-skinned African Americans, and it was supposed to be their own place in the world where they weren't too light for some and too dark for others, that sort of thing. And it was just small town living, and both girls had a reason for why they wanted to leave. And you kind of learn and develop those stories and understand why they wanted to leave as time goes on. And basically these two sisters run away. They leave this town, create a new life for themselves. However, at one point they get separated, and it's the story of trying to understand both girls and what happened to them over the years of being separated. They were separated for 23 years, something like that. And it's just a story that develops of one sister choosing one lifestyle and the other one choosing a very polar lifestyle, complete opposite choices in life. And you follow their story and kind of get to know why they chose what they chose. And the ending was very realistic and very, I'll say, bitter. It was a very bitter ending. Obviously, I don't want to give it away, but it was I like the ending. I feel like a lot of times endings can ruin movies, books, anything. Like if it's just a horrible ending, then the whole thing, why did I even bother reading or watching this? So I think the ending was very realistic, and it leaves you feeling some type of way. So I do like this book, and for fiction, I would recommend it. All right, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. That was the 5 books that I read last month. 5, not 5. And if you've read any of those books, make sure you let me know about them down below, and if you liked any of them. If you have any book recs that you think I'd like based on the books I shared with you and my opinions, please let me know so I can add them to my book list. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have fun homeschooling and have a fun time reading, I guess, since this is a reading video. All right, I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.